Friction. Learning about force of friction. Children, you all might have seen a driver of a car slowing down the vehicle at a traffic signal. You too slow down your bicycle whenever needed by applying brakes. Have you ever thought why a vehicle slows down when brakes are applied? Not only vehicles, any object moving over the surface of another object slows down when no external force is applied on it. Finally, it stops. Let us think of a rolling ball. We have seen a moving ball on the ground stops after some time. Why do we slip when we step on a banana peel? In this chapter, we will find the answers to such questions. Force of friction. Let us perform an activity to study force of friction. Activity: gently push a wooden block on a table. You observe that it stops after moving for some distance. Now, let us push the wooden block from the opposite direction. You observe that it stops after moving for some distance. We can say that a force must be acting on the block opposing its motion. This force is called the force of friction. You saw that if you apply the force along the left, friction acts along the right. If you apply the force along the right, the friction acts along the left direction. In both cases, the force opposes the motion of the wooden block. The force of friction always opposes the applied force. In the above activity, the force of friction acts between the surface of the wooden block and the surface of the table. Factors affecting friction. Let us perform an activity to study factors affecting activity. Make an inclined plane on a smooth table. You may use a wooden board supported by books. Put a mark with a pen at any point A on the inclined plane. Now let a pencil cell move down from this point. Note down the distance. The distance covered is more on the smooth surface. Now, spread a piece of cloth over the table. Make sure that there are no wrinkles in the cloth. Now, let a pencil cell move down from this point. Note down the distance. The distance covered is little less on cloth surface. Friction is caused by the irregularities on the two surfaces in contact. Even those surfaces which appear very smooth have a large number of minute irregularities on them. We see that the friction is caused by the interlocking of irregularities in the two surfaces. It is obvious that the force of friction will increase if the two surfaces are pressed harder. Activity. Let us move a box at rest. We found that it was a bit tough to get it started. The force required to overcome friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest is a measure of static friction. Now, let us again move the car which is already in motion. The force required to keep the object moving with the same speed is a measure of sliding friction. When the car starts sliding, the contact points on its surface do not get enough time to lock into the contact points of the floor. So, the sliding friction is slightly smaller than the static friction, and you find it somewhat easier to move the car already in motion than to get it started. Friction. When we fix the nail on the wall, it is due to friction. If an object started moving, it would never stop if there were no friction. Because of friction between the
Tires of the automobiles and the road.
they can be started or stopped or turned to change the direction of motion. On the other hand, friction is an evil too. It wears out the materials, whether they are screws, ball bearings, or soles of shoes. Friction can also produce heat. Vigorously rub your palms together for a few minutes. It will make you feel warm. When you strike a matchstick against the rough surface, it catches fire due to friction. From all the above activities, we come to know that friction produces heat. We shall discuss the ways of minimizing friction in the next section. Summary: friction opposes the relative motion between two surfaces in contact. It acts on both the surfaces. Static friction comes into play when we try to move an object at rest. Sliding friction comes with play when an object is sliding over another. Sliding friction is smaller than static friction. That is all in this topic. Let us learn about increasing and reducing friction in our next topic.